Hey everyone, I'm Danette with Wildwoods Wellness. I wanted to drop in and do a short little video just chatting a bit about the things that hold us back on our path. Some of us might refer to that as baggage. Basically, we have all these traumas and experiences and things that have happened to us in the past. And we do, as humans, I believe, at least in our current culture and society, have a tendency to pack that stuff in and hold on to it. And what ends up happening is that when we hold on to that stuff, it starts shaping our current experiences. So rather than being in the present moment and seeing things through a fairly clear lens and seeing things for what they are, it's often dictated to us from a past experience or a past trauma, something that has nothing to do with what's even taking place here. And it's because we're holding on to all this stuff and we're not having awareness of what's driving our thoughts, our actions, our behaviors. So when I was sitting kind of contemplating this topic a little while ago, something that came to me was about how spirit will help us and open these doorways. And we see these doorways and they're invitations to go to these places that we want to go to, but we can't fit through the doorway because we're holding on to all these bags. And so we're going to have to set down those bags if we want to walk through the door. And that's a really hard process. And it's especially hard if we haven't really started and if this is a new concept for us. And I equate holding on to all this stuff is essentially like drinking poison. It really is. It poisons our bodies, it poisons our minds, it poisons our hearts and our souls. And so we really need to recognize this and realize that when we hold on to all this stuff and we let the past dictate what's happening in the present, we get stuck on this loop and we just keep spinning around and around in the same circle rather than moving around down on the spiral. So I would much rather be on the spiral than stuck in the circle. However, I can say that I personally have experienced getting stuck on that loop. And what that means is that we have a small amount of awareness around what's happening with us presently. And I'll use relationships as a really good example. So for anyone who has dated or has transitioned through different relationships, often we end up in this situation and we don't feel good and we might label it in all different ways. And we end up leaving the relationship and we say all these things like, I'm never going to do this again. I don't want to have a partner like that again. And we carry on and then we end up with a new partner. And all of a sudden we're right back in the same relationship, whether we realize it or not. So if you're driving down a road in a car, you're on a different road and you have different passengers in the vehicle, but there's something about the scenery that feels the same. And it's the same idea. And until we want to kind of really put the brakes on and bring some awareness to our patterns and what we are doing, we're going to keep getting stuck in this loop. And we're just going to keep experiencing the same things and the same situations over and over again. There might be little tiny differences, but it's still the same until we want to break that cycle. And often what happens for us is exactly that. There's a break, there's a jolt, there's something that comes through that causes us to really shake ourselves out of that. So it's at that point where we can decide if we want to continue in the loop and if we want to keep repeating the same things over and over again, or do we want to take a more true path and become accountable and responsible for our healing, our growth, and our direction. So when we step into that space and we say, no, I'm fully ready to break the loop. I want to break these cycles. I want to set down all these bags that I'm carrying and no longer have the past dictating my present. It's going to require a great deal of patience. It's going to require a great deal of love. It's going to need strength, compassion, perseverance. And as one of my favorites, Glennon Doyle, would say, you're going to have a willingness to do hard things, because breaking cycles and breaking patterns and getting out of a loop, especially if it's one that's been passed down to you through your family, which often we will find ties. The loop didn't start with us. It started somewhere down the line We learned these behaviors usually from somewhere. So we're going to have to do hard things. It's really hard, but you can do it. I know you can. So the invitation here is to start gaining some awareness around this. And when you find yourself, somebody has done something to you, that's usually how we frame it. I'll save about that for another video, because people don't really do things to us. They just operate in this world as themselves, and we have experiences about that and build stories. But anyways, something has happened to you, and when you can feel yourself dropping into that space where you start blaming, shaming, judging, you want to lash out, stop, pause, take a breath, allow yourself to feel. It's okay to feel all those things, but don't act from that place. So as you breathe and you just take an opportunity for stillness, then you can ask yourself the question, what needs attention in me right now? Because that's the thing. In this loop that we get stuck in all this shit that we hold on to, there's a root in there that's inside you. There's a shadow aspect of self that needs to be faced, opened, healed, and integrated. So you need to start building your awareness around that and start asking the question of, what do I need right now? And this will invite you to go deeper. It'll allow you to start taking responsibility, and you can begin to shift and embody the energy that you want to start attracting into your life, rather than responding or reacting to everything that's happening around you. Taking this responsibility for yourself, for your experiences, for your behaviors, thoughts, and actions will allow you to take the steps that you need to heal what needs to heal, to change what needs to change, to end what needs to end. Because I can assure you, when you start breaking cycles and patterns, there's going to be endings. You're also going to have to set boundaries. So you'll start looking around at the places in your life where you've been lacking boundaries, and you'll start setting firm ones. That in itself too is going to bring endings. So this is where I'm talking about, there's going to be hard things, but I know you can do it. And as you do, you're going to feel lighter. You're going to see your life moving forward. You're going to see the patterns and cycles changing. And rather than spinning out on this loop, you're going to start moving down the spiral. And that's a beautiful experience. So I just want to close by reminding you that nothing people do to you is your fault. So it's not something to internalize, but how you respond, how you heal, how you move forward and grow is 100% your responsibility. So there's my little piece I wanted to share today. And I just want to point out that you can find me at wildwoodswellness.ca, Wildwoods Wellness on Facebook, Wildwoods Wellness Canada on Instagram. I hope to connect with you again. I will do another video soon, and just keep shining your light into the world, doing your work, sharing the love, and live wild and well.